Use the following graph to answer questions 8 through 12. Okay, here's the graph we're looking at. And they want to know over what interval of x is the function decreasing? Well, what side of the parabola is decreasing? The left side. Okay, it's going down on this side of the parabola, correct? So when did it begin decreasing? Infinity, but on the left side, which would be negative infinity, correct? And then didn't it decrease until it got down here at the vertex, which is where? 1. Guys, anytime you hear the word interval, you have to think x, and they even told you in the problem, x. The x value of this point is 1. The y value is -4, but that doesn't matter because we're doing intervals. So if that's where it's decreasing, when does it start increasing? 1. And it increases forever to the right, which would be positive infinity. No, just parentheses are fine. Okay, what is the relative minimum of the graph? What is the lowest point on that graph? 1, -4. To get to that lowest point, you go right 1 on the x-axis, down 4 on the y-axis. Remember, all points are written x, comma, y. What is the y-intercept? 0, -3. To get to the y-intercept, you don't go left or right. You just go down the y-axis 3 units, so 0, -3. What is the equation of the axis of symmetry for the graph below? Where would you need to draw a line to cut that parabola into 2 equal parts? Guys, it's not a point. I don't need 2 numbers. X equals 1. You'd have to draw a line through the x-axis at 1, and that equation is x equals 1. Okay, it says equation, so you should never answer that with a point. An equation is like x equals or y equals. Well, since it's a vertical line, it's x equals, and it crosses through at 1. Okay, any questions? Yes? Because we read from left to right, so if we start on the left side of this parabola, you're first going down. And then when you go here, you're going up. Like, look, we read from left to right, so left to right. So if we start over here on the parabola, you're going which way? Down, so that part's decreasing. And, well, I mean, if the parabola is upside down, this would be increasing and this would be decreasing. Whichever way from the vertex goes down. Okay, next page. A ball is thrown into the air and reaches a maximum height of 12 feet and hits the ground after 3 seconds. So that's why we relabel this. If its max height is 12 feet, isn't that the ball's max height? So over there in line with that should be a 12, not a 20. And if the ball hits the ground after 3 seconds, that should have been 3 because it hits the ground at 3. Okay. What is the appropriate, that's a key word there, domain for the scenario described and modeled by the given graph? That's normally what a parabola is. 0 to 3. Because think about it. You start throwing the ball here. The ball hits here. Will the ball ever go underground? So that's why it won't travel left and right forever, because you can't go below the x-axis. That would be below ground. So it stops at 0 on the x-axis and it stops at 3 when it hits the ground again. So brackets on both sides. So now keep that in mind when you tell me the range. 0 to 12. Think about it. Isn't its lowest y value going to be 0 before it's left the ground or when it hits the ground? And its highest y value is going to be its maximum height in the air of 12? If it stops. Like, it will never go past 12. That was its max height. They didn't really say, so vertex. I just wrote vertex, but. Number 15. What is the equation of the graph shown? Well, anytime they're asking you to write the equation, the first thing you need to identify is the vertex. Where is my vertex? -2, right? So if the vertex is at -2, -2, that means the vertex shifted what directions? From the origin, left 2, down 2, correct? So, in an equation, how do you represent left 2 in vertex form? X plus 2, and horizontal shifts always go in parentheses. So if it's a left or a right shift, you put it in parentheses. Now what should I write? Correct. You got to square it. Otherwise it won't be a parabola. It'll be a line. And then -2 represents that down 2. Now, once you've written your equation, can't you just graph that equation and make sure you see a graph that goes left 2, down 2? And opens up, because that's a positive 1 out front. Okay, number 16. Graph the equation y equals x minus 2 squared plus 2. So this is just the opposite. This time they gave you the equation and they want you to graph it. So tell me what you know from the equation. Right 2 and up 2. Remember, the horizontal shift is always opposite of what you would think it would be. -2 is actually right. Plus 2 would have been left. And then the vertical shift is what you would think. Plus 2 is up 2. So if my vertex moves right 2, up 2, which way will the parabola open? Up, because that's a positive 1 out front. And then, I mean, that's fine. That should be enough information for you to be able to pick the correct graph. But let's say there's 2 that are in very similar places. How can you know exact points on the parabola? Right. Type the equation in your calculator and do second table, and it'll pull up all the points, and then you can match up the right points to the right graph, okay? All right, any questions about this page? All right, number 17. Focus, we're almost done. Use the following functions to answer questions 17 and 18. Well, the first 2 they gave to you as equations, and the last one they gave to you as a graph. What form is this equation in? Standard. This one's in vertex. Well, let's go and look at the questions they're asking. Which function has a minimum? Which function has only one x-intercept? Well, to answer those 2, don't we really need to see a picture of all of them? So in your calculator, you could graph both of them at the same time. Like you could put this one in y1 like I did, and then this one in y2, and then you'll just have to remember which one, is which. Mine is colored, so it's easy. So if you don't think you're going to be able to remember which one is graphed first, you might want to graph them 2 different times. The blue one is number 1, the red one is number 2. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the blue one's number 1, the red one's number 2. Which function or functions has a minimum value? 2 and 3. This one has a minimum right there, and the red one has a minimum right there. This one has a maximum because that negative out front turned it upside down. So only 2 and 3 have a minimum point. Which function has only one x-intercept? Just number 3. See how that one hits the x-axis one time, and those don't hit the x-axis at all? So only number 3 has an x-intercept, and it has exactly 1 like I said. Okay, number 19. Use the graph to answer the following questions. What is the average rate of change over the interval -4 to -1? Well, anytime you see the word interval, you need to get what in your head? X values. So if I go to -4, that's right here, which is that point. If I go to -1, to get to the point at -1, don't I have to go way up here to this point? And average rate of change is the same thing as what? Y'all, average rate of change is the same thing as what? I know, slope. So when you have a graph and you're trying to find slope, can't you just do rise over run? So look, from this green point to that green point, we rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the rise is 9. And then we have to run 1, 2, 3. And that reduces to 3. So that one has an average rate of change of 3. Okay, now let's do B. This time they're doing the interval negative 1 to 2. So we're going to be using that point at negative 1 again, but now we're using the point at 2, which is right there. So to calculate its average rate of change, otherwise known as slope, you're going to have to go down 9, which is negative 9 because you went down 9, and then right 3, which is positive 3. So its average rate of change is a negative 3. Does that make sense? Tomorrow is your test. You have 15 more minutes in here. So you just need to keep in mind, if there's something on this review sheet you don't know how to do, there's going to be that same question on the test. So you need to use this 15 minutes to either ask somebody in here who knows what they're doing or ask me, because I'm not answering questions tomorrow once you're in here. Does everybody understand?